Akagan stepped into the hero base. For a brief moment, silence filled the room. Then suddenly, Kara ran toward him and hugged him tightly. Akagan froze in place, caught completely off guard. Across the room, Fiona watched with a warm smile spreading across her face. Beside her, Edmund stood with his arms folded, equally relieved. Akagan looked at them awkwardly, scratching the back of his head. "I'm sorry, guys." His voice was quiet, heavy. "I let bloodthirst get away." "Sorry." Edmund nearly jumped. "You took down Power Cell and Amoeba, 2 TB villains. You saved Commissioner Jones." He shook his head in disbelief. "You did more tonight than all the bronze rank heroes combined." "That's right," Kara added immediately. "And you also gave that mass murderer Bloodthirst a beating he'll remember." She folded her arms proudly. If Commissioner Jones hadn't been taken hostage, Bloodthirst would be sitting in prison right now too. Then her expression shifted. She pouted slightly, but seriously. "You gave us a heart attack earlier. That explosion from Power Cell. Not funny." Akagan sighed softly, then placed a calm hand over Kara's head. "It's all right." His voice was relaxed. "It'll take more than a spark like that to take me down." Kara rolled her eyes slightly, but couldn't hide the relief in her face. Just then, Fiona stepped forward, holding a cold bottle in her hand. She placed it in front of him. "Hey, you deserve this." She smiled warmly. Akagan raised an eyebrow awkwardly, taking the beer from her hand. A B for letting a prisoner escape. He smirked slightly. Being a hero really is pretty awesome. Fiona chuckled softly. "Akagan, what Kara and Edmund said is true. You are the real hero today." She stepped toward the central screen. "And it's not just us saying it. The Hero Forum is exploding right now. The entire world witnessed what you did." Kara spun her chair around excitedly. "And now, our plan is finally bearing fruit." Akagan frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" "Remember why you became heroes. To expose the ones who were slacking off. To force them to act." Fiona gestured toward the glowing screen. "Your fight with Bloodthirst and his right-hand men, Power Cell and Amoeba, has caused an uproar on the Hero Forum." Kara tapped the screen, scrolling rapidly. "You now have the highest number of public votes. After defeating 2 TB villains and fighting a TA villain single-handedly." Edmund whistled quietly. "Everyone in Citadel knows what a menace Bloodthirst was." Fiona nodded. "Just saying his name used to scare people. Yet tonight, you had him running away." She turned back to Akagan. "And now the people are asking questions. Serious questions. What were the other heroes doing? Where were the silver rank heroes? Where were the bronze rank heroes? Why was a great beard hero fighting alone?" Thousands of comments flooded the screen. Angry, demanding answers. The people are beginning to understand what a real hero looks like. They are starting to question the system. Fiona smiled faintly. "And soon, every hero who has been slacking off will pay the price when they lose their ranking and their funding." Kara leaned forward again, her fingers flying across the console. She glanced over her shoulder at Akagan. "After your fight with the sinister siblings, you became a bronze rank hero immediately. You were placed at position 100 out of the 150 bronze rank heroes." Akagan nodded slowly. That was already a pretty big jump. Kara smiled, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. "But now..." She slid the screen forward. The rankings refreshed. At the very top of the bronze rank list, Great Beard Hero, rank 1. Woohoo! Edmund and Fiona jumped in excitement. Kara spun around in her chair proudly. And that's not all. She tapped another window. Cucaracha was the only other bronze rank hero who actually worked that night. Because of that, his ranking shot up too. The screen displayed another update. Cucaracha, rank 11. All the other bronze heroes, Kara continued, who did nothing that night and never came to the Great Beard Hero Essayed, have been pushed down the rankings. Akagan walked over to Edmund and fist bumped him. Edmund grinned widely. Fiona clapped her hands together happily. "Well then." She walked over to the table, carrying a champagne bottle. "I think this calls for a celebration." Fiona began pouring the drinks. Champagne bubbled into the glasses. The room was filled with laughter and relief. But suddenly, the television screen flickered. Breaking news appeared. A familiar face showed up on the screen. Detective Oliver Hunt. Edmund leaned forward. "Hey, that's the guy I met after taking down those thugs last night." The four of them turned toward the screen. Watching closely, the reporter held out a microphone. Detective Hunt spoke calmly. "We thank Kukaracha for his tremendous help and support in taking down those thugs." Akigan and Kara immediately placed their hands on Edmund's shoulders, cheering him proudly. Edmund smiled slightly. But then, Detective Hunt continued. "However, I must apologize to Kukaracha wherever he is." His tone changed, since he informed me that this was a drug bust. But after thoroughly searching the premises, all we found was some cash and a few weapons. He shrugged dismissively. "The thugs we apprehended were nothing more than low-level street criminals. Certainly not members of a shadow organization known as the Neanderthals." Detective Hunt scoffed slightly. Edmund's smile vanished instantly. His face turned red. His fists clenched tightly. Akigan noticed. He placed a calm hand on Edmund's shoulder. Edmund whispered angrily. It was all there. Loads of cash. The drugs. Karim Imabe himself. They weren't some street gang. How can he just lie like that? Fiona's expression hardened. "I guess we now know. That detective is on Karim's payroll. That bastard." Kara suddenly leaned forward. "Wait." Her eyes lit up. "We recorded everything from Edmund's suit. The Nanit camera captured the entire thing. We can release the footage and prove his lying." Fiona shook her head slowly. "It's not that simple. To release that evidence, Edmund would have to reveal his identity and the location of our base." She paused. "And even then, we still don't have physical proof. All the footage would show is Karim standing in a room filled with cash." She sighed. The drugs were inside sealed bags, and Karim is a businessman. He could easily claim the money belongs to a legitimate operation. Kara opened her mouth to speak. "But that's enough." Edmund's voice exploded through the room. Everyone froze. His anger filled the air. He turned toward Kara. "This is all your fault." Kara's eyes widened. Fear flashed across her face. Fiona stood stunned beside her. Akigan raised an eyebrow quietly, watching the outburst unfold. Edmund stepped forward, his fist trembling. "I told you. I would go take Karim down myself, along with the thugs." His voice shook with frustration. "But you never let me go." He pointed at her. "Kukaracha was only meant for thugs and street criminals. Only the great beard hero can handle supervillains, right?" Kara didn't answer. She stood there, shocked, speechless. "I just wanted you to be safe," she whispered softly, her voice breaking. "Safe?" Edmund spoke bitterly. "I'm a superhero. If you wanted me to stay safe and let criminals walk free, then what's the difference between me and all those other heroes who slack off?" He paused, breathing heavily. "I know I lost against Lord Tentacles, but he wasn't just any villain, and I still fought him." His voice softened slightly. "And if I hadn't stepped in that day, Fiona wouldn't even be standing here." The room fell silent. "The pain Lord Tentacles gave me, that hurt." He clenched his jaw. "But this..." He looked straight at Kara. "The fact that you think I'm too weak to handle any superpowered criminal on my own. The fact that you don't trust me. That hurts even more." Kara's eyes filled with tears. But Edmund didn't wait for a response. He shrugged her hand away and walked toward the door. Silence returned to the room. Akigan and Fiona looked at each other awkwardly. "I'll go after him," Akigan said calmly. Fiona nodded. She placed a reassuring hand over Kara's shoulder as Kara stood there quietly, wiping her tears. Akigan stepped outside the base. He looked around the street. Where the hell did that guy go? Then spotted a familiar figure walking quickly down the street. "Ah, there he is. Man, that cockroach really moves fast," he muttered. He finally caught up, reaching forward and placing a hand on Edmund's shoulder. Edmund stopped. "Akigan." His voice was tired. "I just need to be alone right now." Akigan exhaled slowly, about to say something. Then suddenly, a violent screech tore through the sky. The sound echoed across the city. Both of them looked up. The entire sky darkened. A massive shadow stretched across the buildings below. Akigan squinted at the dark shape cutting across the sky. "Is that a bird?" "Bird," Edmund murmured. A gigantic creature tore through the clouds. A 50-foot black eagle-shaped beast. Its wings stretched across the skyline like a living storm. With one violent flap, crash! Glass exploded as it smashed straight through the side of a skyscraper. Concrete rained down into the streets below. Cars screeched. People screamed. The crowd scattered in every direction, running blindly. helter-skelter through the streets. But Akigan and Edmund remained standing in the center of it all. Edmund stayed upward. Beast of Purgatory. He said it quietly. These are animals just like us, evolved by the power of the god seeds. Akigan watched the creature circle above the city. Wait, Akigan muttered. These evolved beasts. They never leave their territory. Edmund's expression suddenly changed. His eyes widened. Unless. Akigan noticed immediately. Unless what? Edmund swallowed. Unless it's being controlled. Akigan's eyes widened. Controlled. Edmund spoke slowly. There's only one person who can tame these evolved beasts. The Beastbinder. Mahout. Oh, a disaster-level villain. His voice lowered. Bronze heroes, and even silver-rank heroes hesitate to fight Tier B or Tier A villains. But Mahout is on an entirely different level. Even gold-rank heroes might not survive fighting him. Akigan squinted upward. Akigan narrowed his eyes. Wait. He pointed upward. I can see someone standing on top of that bird. Akigan glanced at Edmund. Then he smirked faintly. Well then, if what you're saying is true, and Mahout is really as dangerous as you claim, then I'm fairly certain the heroes who didn't bother showing up during my fight with Bloodthirst aren't going to appear now. So what do you say, Edmund? I'll take on the bird tamer. You handle the bird. Edmund blinked in disbelief. What? Me? Akigan shrugged casually. Well, didn't you just have a fight with Kara because she wouldn't let you fight supervillains? He pointed toward the sky. Now's your chance. That bird is stronger than most supervillains you will ever face. Edmund's expression changed, the frustration from earlier, turning into determination. He clenched his fists. All right. His voice grew firm. So what's the plan? Akigan grinned. You fly up there. Use those black slugs of yours. Take that oversized pigeon down. And once that circus freak falls, I'll handle him. All right. Edmund pulled his shirt off quickly. His wings unfolded from his back, stretching wide into the night air. Then the nanits activated. The armor spread across his body instantly, his cucaracha suit forming around him. Without hesitation, he shot upward into the sky, flying straight toward the gigantic beast. Akigan watched from the street below, whistling softly. Whoa. He scratched his beard. I didn't know I could hype someone up like that. The closer cucaracha got, the bigger the creature became. Each flap of its wings created violent gusts that shook the skyscrapers. Cucaracha slowed mid-air, hovering beside the creature, suddenly realizing something. He clicked his comms. Hey, Beard Hero. His voice sounded much less confident now. How many slugs do you think it will take to pin this bird down? Silence. Hey, Beard Hero. Down on the street. Akigan stared upward, his jaw slowly dropping. From where he stood, Cucaracha looked like a tiny buzzing insect next to the enormous creature. The difference in size was terrifying. Akigan's eyes widened. Oh, Edmund. He whispered to himself. I may have just sent you to your death. What? Edmund's voice came through the comms. Akigan snapped back to reality. Nothing. Just keep hitting it as hard as you can with those slugs. I'll find a way to get up there. Akigan looked around quickly, then spotted it. A towering skyscraper directly in the flight path of the giant bird. Perfect. His nanite suit activated instantly. He sprinted toward the building entrance, bursting into the lobby. Akigan slammed the elevator button. The elevator was already stuck at the top. Gah! Akigan yelled in frustration. He turned toward the stairwell and shot upward through the steps, running at near sonic speed. Cucaracha buzzed forward through the turbulent air. As he reached the giant bird's head, he finally saw him. A towering figure stood atop the beast. Massive, broad-shouldered like a titan, wrapped in robes made of animal skins. Mahout, the Beastbinder. Mahout looked down at the tiny flying hero, then laughed. A deep, thunderous laugh. Little bug. Move aside. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. You don't want to be eaten by my death raven, do you? Cucaracha hovered in front of him nervously. Trust me, I really don't want to. But I gave my word, and I intend to keep it. He raised his arms. Here goes. Black slugs fired from his wrists. They struck the enormous bird's feathers. Mahout laughed even louder. You think that black toad will do anything? But Cucaracha didn't stop. He buzzed around the giant creature. Left, right, above, below, firing slugs in every direction. Mahout barely even looked at him, treating him like nothing more than a pest. But then, something changed. The death raven suddenly dipped lower in the sky. Its wings faltered. The massive creature shrieked loudly. Mahout frowned, realizing the trick. The black slugs weren't meant to hurt the bird. They were sticking to its feathers, weighing it down, restricting its movement, reducing its altitude. The giant beast struggled to stay airborne. Cucaracha floated nearby, laughing behind his mask. What do you think of that? Mahout's expression darkened instantly. Kill that bug. The death raven shrieked again. Its cry shattered glass across nearby skyscrapers. Windows exploded outward. The city trembled beneath the sound. Cucaracha hovered beneath the creature's massive talons, his wings buzzing frantically. He opened his comms. Akagan, where are you? I've held the beast as long as I can. The death raven's claws descended toward him. Closer, closer, great beard hero. Cucaracha shouted desperately. Then, from above, a dark shape pierced the sky. A black comet descended. The great beard hero. He had leapt from the top of the skyscraper, falling at supersonic speed, straight toward the monster's head. Boom! His impact shook the entire region. The death raven's skull slammed downward. The shockwave rippled across the air. Mahout lost his footing. Staggering, the giant bird's eyes rolled back. Its wings collapsed. The creature lost consciousness and began falling toward the city below. Mahout grabbed tightly onto the feathers, holding himself steady. Meanwhile, Cucaracha grabbed Akagan's arm as the two heroes leapt away from the falling beast. Akagan and Cucaracha looked at each other for a moment. Then, they fist-bumped. Behind them, the giant death raven slammed into the ground. Concrete shattered. Dust and debris exploded into the air. Smoke rolled across the street. From within the wreckage, a figure slowly rose. Mahout, unharmed, his towering frame emerging through the smoke like a dark mountain. Akagan stepped forward. I'll handle it from here, he said calmly to Cucaracha. Cucaracha nodded. But be careful. His voice turned serious. Mahout is a disaster-level threat for a reason. In terms of raw strength, is easily 2, maybe 3 times stronger than Bloodthirst. And that's not even the worst part. He can control multiple beasts of purgatory at the same time, each one as strong as a silver rank hero, or stronger. Akagan nodded quietly, then walked forward, toward Mahout. The beast binder loomed over him, a giant compared to the bearded hero. Mahout looked down and grinned. Not bad, for a puny hero. You took down my raven. His grin widened. But let's see how you fare against the others. Then suddenly, the ground began to tremble. Mahout spread his arms proudly. It took them a while, but they are finally here. A gigantic mammoth charged forward at full force. Its tusks smashed through the road as it thundered toward Akagan. Boom! The beast slammed into him. The impact launched Akagan straight through 2 buildings. Concrete walls collapsed around him. Before the dust could settle, another shadow moved. A massive jaguar-like monster leapt across the rooftops, moving like a living missile, its claws carving through steel and glass as it bounded from building to building. And then, a deafening howl echoed across the city. A giant wolf-like creature tore down the street, cars flipping into the air as it sprinted forward. Cucaracha hovered in the air, staring in shock at the devastation below. Cucaracha quickly opened his comms. Akagan, are you all right? From the wreckage of the building, Akagan stepped out, dust covering his suit. I'm alive. Just didn't expect to get hit by a giant elephant. Cucaracha flew down beside him. What do we do? His voice was filled with worry. Mahout alone is a disaster-level threat, and those beasts are with him too. Each one of them could destroy half the city by themselves. Akagan narrowed his eyes. If he attacked one beast, the other 2 would rampage across the city. And then there was Mahout, and Cucaracha alone couldn't handle any of them. For a brief moment, the situation looked impossible. Then suddenly, whoosh! A blazing blue fireball shot across the sky. It struck the giant jaguar at incredible speed. Boom! The beast was thrown backward across the street. Akagan and Cucaracha both turned. Akagan raised an eyebrow. Who are these guys? Cucaracha looked closely. Recognition spread across his face. That's Blue Ember, silver rank number 2. He pointed at the man whose hands still burned with blue flames, and the one beside him. That's Wild the Beast, silver rank number 1. Akagan glanced toward the other 4 figures standing behind him. And those 4? Cucaracha nodded toward them. That's Yoko, Grand Sumo, Excalibur, and Red Mamba. They used to be posture number 1, 2, 3 and 4 among the bronze heroes. He glanced at Akigan and smirked slightly. That is until today, since you took the #1 spot. All their rankings dropped by 1, while the beast stepped forward first. Calm, confident. I'll go after Mahal. He walked straight toward the towering beastbinder without hesitation. Behind him, blue ember lifted into the air, flames beginning to glow around his hands. I'll take the remaining beasts. He glanced toward Yoko with a playful smile. I wouldn't want a beautiful girl like you getting your hands dirty. Yoko rolled her eyes, narrowed, annoyed. We can take care of ourselves. Her voice was cold. You handle the mammoth. Blue ember chuckled. You know I can't say no to a beautiful lady. She turned toward the others. Red Mamba and I will take the wolf. Excalibur, Grand Sumo, go after the jaguar. Yoko looked directly at Akigan and Kukaracha. And you two rookies, stand back. She ordered bluntly. Kukaracha instantly bristled. Who do you think you're talking to? Akigan calmly placed a hand on his shoulder. It's all right, Kukaracha. Blue ember launched into the air. Blazing blue fireballs shot from his hands, one after another, exploding against the charging mammoth. Across the street, Yoko moved like the wind. Her katana flashed as she darted toward the giant wolf. Beside her, Red Mamba raised his arms. Poison seeped from every pore of his skin. A crimson mist sprayed forward, weakening the beast as Yoko struck with precise sword slashes. On the opposite side, the giant jaguar lunged violently. Excalibur stepped forward to meet it. His towering divine sword clashed against the creature's claws, each impact shaking the street. Behind him, Grand Sumo stood ready, a mountain of muscle, waiting for the moment to grapple the beast with his overwhelming strength. Akigan scratched his beard thoughtfully. I get Red Mamba. He's got the poison thing going on. And Sumo's obviously got super strength. And Excalibur has that magic sword. Divine sword. Edmund corrected immediately. Akigan shrugged. All right, but what about Yoko? What's her power? Edmund looked back toward the battlefield, watching the swordswoman dance around the giant wolf. She's a martial arts prodigy. She can learn any fighting technique just by seeing it once. And any weapon she holds becomes 10 times stronger, faster, more durable. Then Edmund suddenly turned toward Akigan, curiosity burning in his eyes. Speaking of powers, what exactly are your powers? Akigan smiled. Edmund's eyes widened eagerly. Extraordinary strength, Akigan said proudly. Edmund stayed at him, waiting for more. A few seconds passed. Then he sighed. That's it. Akigan shrugged. Pretty much. The battle raged across the ruined streets of Citadel. Blue ember soared through the air, flames blazing from his hands. Again and again, he hurled massive blue fireballs toward the charging mammoth. Each blast grew larger than the last. Explosions lit up the skyline, but the mammoth stood like a mountain, unmoving, unbreakable. Blue ember began to breathe harder, the strain showing on his face. Still, he had one advantage. He was in the air. The mammoth simply couldn't reach him. Meanwhile, across the battlefield, Excalibur raised his towering divine sword. The blade shimmered with radiant energy. He swung it through the air, firing beams of blinding light toward the gigantic jaguar. But the beast moved with terrifying agility. For a creature its size, it was unbelievably fast. Each beam missed, each strike avoided. Yoko moved like a storm, her katana flashing again and again. She slashed across the giant wolf's body. Cuts opened across its hide. Dark blood spilled onto the pavement. Beside her, Red Mamba raised his arms. Crimson poison sprayed from his skin. The venom seeped into the wolf's wounds. The beast staggered backward, weakening. For a moment, it looked like they had it. Then the wolf lifted its head and howled. A deafening roar echoed across the city. The wounds began closing instantly. Flesh regenerated. Its hide thickened, growing even tougher than before. Kukaracha stayed in disbelief. He glanced toward Akigan. The heroes aren't really doing any damage. The beasts are just toying with them. Akigan watched the battlefield calmly, arms folded. Oh, they're doing exactly what I expected. Kukaracha blinked. What do you mean? Akigan smiled calmly. I needed them all distracted, so I could take them down, one by one. Blue ember hovered high above the street. Then he clenched his fists. All right, it's time I finish this. The flames around his body intensified, growing brighter, hotter. Then, he thrust both hands forward. A massive beam of blue fire erupted from his palms. The beam slammed directly into the mammoth. Boom! The pavement melted beneath the heat. Blue Ember smiled confidently. Got you. But as the smoke cleared, the mammoth still stood there, unmoving, its massive body barely scorched. Its eyes glowed with fury as it stared directly at him. Blue Ember's smile vanished. He panted heavily, completely drained. The mammoth lifted its trunk and trumpeted. The deafening roar echoed across the entire city. Meanwhile, the jaguar suddenly backed away from Excalibur, its muscles coiling. Then it sprinted, straight toward a nearby skyscraper, running across the building's vertical surface like gravity didn't exist. Higher, higher. Then it leapt, straight into the sky, directly above Blue Ember. For a split second, Blue Ember looked up. Too late. Slash! The jaguar's claws tore through his chest. Blue Ember's body fell from the sky, crashing onto the street below, blood pouring across the pavement. Grand Sumo and Excalibur rushed forward to intercept. But the mammoth charged. A living mountain. It slammed into them with unstoppable force. The impact sent them flying blocks away, their bodies crashing through buildings. And then, the wolf turned toward Red Mamba, its wounds fully healed, its hide thicker than before. When Red Mamba unleashed another wave of poison, the wolf didn't even react. The toxin had no effect anymore. The beast lunged forward. Its massive claws drove straight through Red Mamba's chest. Then it crushed him beneath its paw. Nearby, Yoko rushed in, her katana flashing at incredible speed. Strike after strike landed against the wolf's body. But suddenly, the beast snapped its jaws shut. Crack! Her sword shattered like a toothpick. Yoko stumbled backward. The wolf, the jaguar, and the mammoth, all closing in on her, her face filled with panic, fear creeping into her eyes. From a distance, Akigan watched silently. Beside him stood a simple stop sign. He picked it up casually, gripping the metal pole. Then, he hurled it. Like a javelin, the sign rocketed through the air at unbelievable speed. Whoosh! It pierced straight through the wolf's head. The massive beast collapsed instantly. Akigan began walking forward calmly. He stopped beside Yoko, placed a hand gently on her head, patting her lightly. I'll take it from here. Yoko looked up at him, her eyes wide, filled with shock, fear, and overwhelming relief. The colossal jaguar attacked. Its massive body coiled low to the ground, eyes locked onto Akigan. Then, it charged, fast, zigzagging across the shattered street with terrifying agility, a blur of claws and muscle tearing across the asphalt. But Akigan moved first, so fast, his body split into after images. A streak of motion flashed across the battlefield. Wham! Akigan's fist slammed into the jaguar's stomach. The impact bent the beast's entire body in half. The jaguar crashed violently onto the road. But Akigan wasn't finished. He grabbed the nearest car, lifted it effortlessly, and smashed it down onto the beast. Crash! Then another car. Crash! And another. Crash! Metal twisted. Glass exploded. Car after car piled onto the jaguar until its massive body stopped moving. Silence fell for a moment. Then, the ground trembled again. The mammoth charged, a living mountain barreling forward, each step cracking the asphalt beneath its weight. But Akigan didn't move. He stood perfectly still, waiting. The mammoth closed the distance. Closer, closer. Then the impact came. Boom! Akigan caught both of its massive tusks, stopping the beast dead in its tracks. Shock rippled through the street. The mammoth pushed harder, roaring with fury. But Akigan pushed back, his arms tightening, muscles tensing. Crack! The tusk snapped, broken clean off. Before the beast could react, Akigan drove the broken tusks forward, both of them, impaling the mammoth straight through its skull. The colossal creature collapsed instantly. Dead. Silence returned to the battlefield. Smoke drifted through the broken street. The fallen heroes Grand Sumo and Excalibur slowly lifted their heads, half-conscious, watching in disbelief. The media helicopter circled above, broadcasting everything live. Yoko stood frozen, her hands empty, her pride shattered, her expression a mix of humiliation and anger. Far above the battlefield, on the roof of a distant skyscraper, a lone figure watched quietly, wrapped in dark gray armor. A voice crackled through his comms. Gray Shinobi, did you make it? Gray Shinobi remained still, his gaze fixed on Akigan below. I did. He paused. But it seems the beasts of purgatory have already been dealt with. Far below, Akigan's gaze shifted toward Mahal, now standing face to face with Wilder Beast, the #1 silver-ranked hero. The air between them tightened as both warriors stepped forward, and the true battle was about to begin.